Set in medieval Europe during the Black Plague, this Ingmar Bergman masterpiece is an exploration of humanity's search for meaning in the face of doom. The film challenges the ideas of religion, death, and the meaning of life itself. At the heart of the film is Antonius Block, a disillusioned knight who's returning home from a decade-long crusade. Antonius is a man torn between his fading faith and his desperate desire for answers. To make his existential crisis worse, Antonius is now also literally facing death. Desperate to delay his fate and seek answers to life's ultimate questions, he challenges death to a game of chess. Throughout the film, we see Antonius desperately seeking for truth, meaning, and assurances of eternity. The knight is fine with dying as long as he gets a guarantee that there is God and that there is something beyond earthly life. Antonius serves as an example of a man guilty of a folly of trying to intellectualize life rather than living and experiencing it. In exchange, he gets nothing but turmoil.
Kan du svara mig på det?
Hon har inte ont mer.
Du svarar inte på min fråga. Vem tar hand om det där barnet? Är det änglarna eller Gud eller Satan eller bara tomheten? Tomheten, herre?
Det kan inte vara så.
Se på hennes ögon. Hennes stackars medvetande håller på att göra en upptäckt. Tomheten under månen.
Nej.
Vi står maktlösa med hängande armar. För vi ser det hon ser. Vår skräck och hennes ensamma. Det lilla barnet. Jag gitter inte.
In fact, he's worse off than any other character, including the manipulative Lisa and the cowardly, cheating Scat. In the end, everyone welcomes death in relative peace, understanding that their time has simply come. Antonius, on the other hand, suffers alone, unable to appreciate the good fortune of being able to face death in relative peace alongside his wife and others. His chase after meaning mirrors the modern image of a man who may now be free of religious dogma, but is slave to money, careers, and constant need for distraction through achievement. And achievement of what exactly? Just like the Crusader, the only thing such a man achieves is distraction, confusion, and regret. The film shows how the limited and fearful human mind steers us to look for meaning and guarantees of eternity in all the wrong places. The search for meaning is an act of desperation and a folly, as even if there is such a thing as divine meaning, we are clearly incapable of perceiving it. The search has never brought any fruit and instead drove us to hurt ourselves and one another. One stark example of this is the burning of the girl accused of being possessed by the devil, a horrifying result of misplaced faith and fear. In another scene, our group of actors performs in a village square. Their light-hearted play is interrupted and overshadowed by priests and believers parading with crosses, idols, and coffins, turning the playful atmosphere into a grim spectacle of death and despair. The visual juxtaposition of the priest's theatrical procession against the actor's performance highlights a central theme. Religion is just another version of the theater. It is a construct created by a limited and confused human mind. It offers the illusion of meaning, but more often than not, serves as a tool of control and division. The scene where Block tries to confess at a church shows an image of a man who is at the brink of finding the ultimate truth, which is that nobody knows anything about the meaning of life. It's an example of a man going through the final stages of transforming from being constantly trapped by his tendency to look for meaning to the freeing realization that everything is equally meaningless and that there's no real need to worry about the meaning. He briefly catches a glimpse of the ultimate truth, which is that life should be experienced rather than pondered. This is shown by his sudden amazement about the sole fact of existence.
Detta är min hand. Jag kan röra den. Blodet pulserar i den. Solen står fortfarande högt på himlen. Och jag, Antonius Block, spelar schack med döden.
Another scene where we see Antonius catch a glimpse of the divine is where he's offered a bowl of milk along with the freshly picked wild strawberries by the traveling couple. In this scene, he is shown in a particularly relaxed state as opposed to when his mind is occupied with faith, religion, and the search for meaning. I believe that this is because at this moment we can see him actually experiencing life rather than pondering it. My takeaway from this is that the moment you start pondering life instead of living it, you are bound to get lost in the inherently neurotic and incomplete human mind.
Ska du ha lite smultron?
Tron är ett svårt lidande, vet du det? Det är som att älska någon som finns där ute i mörkret, men som aldrig visar sig hur man än ropar. Och allt det där tycks mig overkligt när jag sitter här tillsammans med dig och din man. Var det plötsligt likgiltigt?
Nu ser du inte så högtidlig ut.
Jag ska minnas den här stunden. Stillheten och skymningen. Skål med smultron. Skål med mjölk. Era ansikten i kvällsljuset. Mikael som ligger och sover. Joff med sitt strängspel. Jag ska försöka komma ihåg vad vi talat om. Och jag ska bära det här minnet mellan mina händer. Lika försiktigt som vore det en skål breddfylld med nymjölkad mjölk. Och detta ska vara mig ett tecken. Och en stor tillräcklighet.
The acrobat, his wife, and child are a prime example of just living life. Instead of thinking about life, they are simply experiencing it. They may not be the most educated, the richest, the most religious, or the cleverest, yet they seem to be the happiest and the most fortunate, as they are the only ones to be spared in the end. Unlike other characters who are bound by neurotic and obsessive thoughts, cynicism, cowardice, lies, or folly, they're not afraid of love and treat each other and others with kindness. The irony is that Antonius, who went for a 10-year journey to murder people in the name of God, dies in confusion, loneliness, and regret, without any of his gods ushering him onward. When he goes to the church to seek divine wisdom, he only gets cheated by death yet again. Meanwhile, the acrobat, who has no qualms about religion nor any special need for achievement, but keeps his heart open and experiences life as it is permitted occasional glimpses into the divine. This is shown by his vision of the Virgin Mary and a child, as well as the vision of the Crusader playing chess with death, which ultimately saved his and his family's lives. While Antonius plays against death for the final time, he realizes that the acrobat must have seen death and is now trying to take his wife and child to safety. At that moment, the Crusader purposefully trashes the board so that they can escape without death noticing them. I believe that was because at that moment he understood that they are the embodiment of meaning. He bought all of this extra time playing chess just for one more chance to find meaning. Now that he had his answer, he was ready to forfeit the game to save this loving family and allow them to live life as it ought to be lived.
Hade du glädje av ditt uppskov?
Ja, det hade jag.
Antonius Block's journey is not about finding meaning, but about letting go of the need for it. By the end, he finally understands that life in its raw and fleeting beauty is enough. Through his sacrifice, he grants others the chance to live life as life ought to be lived. Not pondered, but embraced. The seventh seal teaches us that life holds no guarantees. Neither religion, science, nor philosophy can provide definitive answers. Instead, the film suggests that life's ultimate truth lies in experiencing it fully alongside people we hold dear. It urges us to abandon the quest for intangible, fairy tale guarantees created by the neurotic and fearful human mind, and instead embrace life as it is, fleeting, uncertain, but meaningful in its own right. If you've enjoyed this video, then please consider hitting the like button, as it helps me get noticed by the algorithm. If you'd like to see more movie reviews and movie recommendations like this in the future, then please also consider subscribing. It's a risk-free investment on your part that might help you find new movies and new perspectives. And it's completely free.